Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate is the world's biggest coffee lover because we love all the ways you enjoy. Wait. Coffee Mate can't love coffee more than me. I'm a foodie. I went to Kyoto just for a nitro matcha latte. What? Oh, I have to finish the ad. Coffee Mate, for the love of coffee.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, and today we're talking with Monica Eckford. Monica is a dynamic leader and entrepreneur with a background as an engineer officer and a Division I volleyball player who graduated from the United States Military Academy in 2021. She has swiftly carved a niche in digital marketing, founding her own agency, Hive, while also serving as a platoon leader at Fort Cavazos, Texas. At Hive, she leads strategies that enhance digital engagement and business growth, paralleling her military role where she mentors a diverse group of soldiers, leveraging her extensive digital and leadership skills to foster success in various endeavors. I'm excited to speak with our guest today, so let's get started. Welcome, Monica. I am so happy to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. But before we dive into your current work, I love to begin by learning about my guests' early experiences. Could you share with us some highlights from your childhood and your journey to where you are today without going too deeply into what you're doing? And after that, we'll explore your current projects and achievements.
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, only child, loved sports, loved school, and really loved challenging myself in all different ways. And so found myself on the path of getting recruited for Division I volleyball for college, played all throughout high school. Didn't really know what I wanted in life. And the military was one of those things I never thought I'd be a part of. Just wasn't really prevalent in my hometown and didn't have anybody in the family, but I got there and the people were incredible and the challenge was there. The like-minded people were there. And so I found myself just kind of diving in and taking a chance on it. And it was the most incredible experience of my life. And I made incredible mentors, friends, experiences. And since then, I graduated in 2021 and have moved a couple of times with the Army and have founded, the same challenges or different challenges, I should say, and just absolutely love it. And I've been able to find my way building my own business as well. And it's just been an incredible journey so far.
Thank you so much for sharing that about you. As I said, I just like to get a little sneak peek before we get started. So again, first of all, thank you for that. Thank you for your service also. I truly appreciate that you are a patriot and that you, like so many young men and women, are fearlessly putting yourself on the front lines for the freedoms that we in this country are so blessed to enjoy, maybe even sometimes take for granted. So again, thank you for that.
Well, thank you. The support is amazing. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. So, everyone that came before me really paved the way. So I appreciate that.
Well, now I want to talk about what you do. So let's start at the beginning. Could you share what influenced your decision to attend the United States Military Academy and how has that experience shaped your personal and professional life?
Oh my goodness. Yes. So like I said, I'd been getting recruited for volleyball, but typically it was a lot of just your normal colleges, some of the Division I schools in my area. And this really incredible opportunity came up to go visit West Point, potentially be recruited, which I had no idea, again, anything about the military. I didn't even know they had a volleyball team, anything like that. And so At first, my mom and I were like, nope, we're not doing this. We're not going. And they're like, just go check it out. It's such a prestigious school. You might enjoy it. So went and I visited, and it was just from like stepping foot on the campus, I just felt like I knew like that was where I belonged. It was the people, like I mentioned in my introduction, being around people that are your age, but you look up to it's such a crazy experience to have. And that's what I felt there. Like there were people that were my age or, a year or two older than me doing incredible studies, incredible different things. And I'm like, I can see myself and I want to be around those people. And so I decided, like I said, to just jump in. At West Point, you have a 2-year commitment where you get to essentially go there for free, make sure it's for you. And I was like, you know what, let me just jump right in and just see if it's for me. And if not, I'll find a better fit. But as soon as I got there, it really was just everything that it was hyped up to be. It had the prestige, the professionalism. Of course, there was sacrifice. Like I didn't have my normal 20s college experience by any means, but, being able to meet presidents, being able to have congressmen come in and talk to your class one-on-one, like CEOs, CFOs, it was incredible. And I really carried a lot of the lessons learned from my professors and lectures and stuff like that. I carried that forward, and I'm really just trying to build, and make those people that poured so much into me proud. And so I've continued to use those lessons, even graduating a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. Well, I really love your journey though, going in and finding, especially because I can't imagine that it's an easy process to go through any type of
No.
rigorous training. And it's
Yeah.
not for the faint of heart. And I think too, you have to have a specific type of personality or mindset, at least, that you're going to you're going to put yourself through something that you have no idea what the experience is going to be. Maybe you might have heard what the experience might be like, but it's not the same as when you are experiencing it. But
Yeah.
just doing that, I think, is incredible to know that you stepped foot on campus, realizing, yeah, this is where I belong. And having that complete knowing, for
Mhm.
such a for a young person, because a lot of the time, just being a civilian, for just an example, not knowing really where we want to go in life, you have an idea, but I
Yeah.
think what from, what we've talked about and what we're going to talk about, like, because you and I've talked previously, I think that your experience has given you an edge of sorts because there is that discipline, which I like, actually having structure. And one of the things I found very challenging after high school, or sorry, after just up to grade 9, and then I went into high school, the structure was so lenient, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it, to be perfectly honest. It was not my cup of tea at first. I actually liked the structure of people knowing where I was, wanting to know where I was, making sure that I was accountable to showing up and doing those things. So I really appreciate that of your, being at your young age and having that insight and recognizing right away, like, this is where I belong and this is what I'm going to do. And I think that is very cool. So I just wanted to point that out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said too, from the beginning, I being in the military, as a female, as an African American female too, people are like, how did you just see yourself there? I'm like, well, I was lucky to go on campus and like look to my left and right, and there was somebody that looked like me, which is surprising. I'm like, okay, well, if she can do it, that means like I feel like I can do it too. So that's another important thing I wanted to point out too, is like if had that one, I remember her name too, Angela. She had just been walking in between classes and I went up to her because I wanted to hear her experience. And had she not taken the 5 minutes just to be like, yeah, and like this is an incredible experience and gone through that, who knows if I would have actually felt, like you said, like I know I belong here, is really, that was a really big experience though too, is finding someone that looked like me and that had, been able to go through it and was going through it. So that was another really key part of it as well. But yeah, I'm so lucky.
Yeah, that's great. So transitioning, let's talk about, there is a lot to with the military and then going into
Yeah.
your own thing. But I think too, you get that I don't know. I feel like there's that edge. Like I said, there's that edge because you're getting that structure, but they're giving you kind of that direction. You have mentors to help you to see, like, okay,
Mhm.
making decisions. So transitioning from the disciplined military background to the dynamic world of digital marketing must have been quite a shift,
Oh
because
my
you go
gosh, yeah.
from one to another. So what drew you to digital marketing, first of all, and how do you integrate your military discipline into this new arena?
Absolutely. So what turned me on to digital marketing, I've always been fascinated with Instagram, with the social media world. I was a sociology major and just like taking that knack of understanding how individuals do what they do, why they do what they do, how trends work. Like I was just automatically just kind of drawn to that. And so I was lucky enough to hop onto an agency like kind of during college as I was leaving, where they let me kind of work on the side with just some small projects. And I really got to understand what they do, how they target their audience, and just really, really intrigued me. And so moving forward from that, I was like, let me try and take the reins and see if I can do this. And like most things, like you said, it just takes some kind of just dedication, commitment. And those are foundational like values that you have to have that I think just translate. That thankfully, like I was in college, it was very much you're held to this standard and you will have discipline, you will have, a commitment to be here. And I took those foundational values and poured it into my business as well, where I wasn't going to start it just to, hope. It's like, I'm going to pour myself into this. And like, I know it's going to work out because I'm going to put the work in for to do so. And it definitely is a result of going through 4 years at West Point and having the rigor of balancing volleyball, military, academia, and making sure you pour 100% of yourself, trying to at least, into those different aspects, and doing the same thing with my business. Um, and when I say 100%, it's like of that day, right? Like being able to recognize that as well. So
Yeah, it's important. And I'm glad that you said that because I think a lot of the time people think, oh, you're juggling so many things and you're trying to do everything at 100%. But it's
mhm.
having that structure and I truly believe, by the way, that there is freedom in structure. I think people
Oh
think it's
yeah.
rigid, but it's not. When you actually know what you're doing, you have that clarity, that focus, and you can really design your day in a way that really works for you. You might have three things that are going on, but something has maybe it's at the forefront. It's getting
Yep.
that higher percentage, and other things might only be admin level based on
Hmm.
whatever it is on that day. But having that structure, I think, is really important. And that's leading me into my next question, because I know that you have crafted a very unique business model with Social Hive. It's focusing on a success-based strategy to match businesses with ideal digital partners. So can you give a little bit more insight into how this model functions and the advantages it provides your clients?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I was a sociology major and we did a ton of like in-field studies for different projects. And so, like I said, I used a lot of that knowledge and previous research, and I brought it into the niche that I really wanted to go into, which is bringing like-minded individuals together for successful collaboration. And so, what I did in the very beginning of my business is I did a ton of field research, figured out what small businesses loved about their virtual assistant, what they loved about their web designer. Was it their communication, their personality? And I took different metrics and I really just went out there and just interviewed so many people, both content creators as well as small businesses that use those services. And once I figured out like those key niche points that are really important to businesses, such as budget, how long have you been in service for? I took those and I put into an algorithm of sorts where now that once I onboard people, so I onboard digital creators, I put them into different buckets, if you will, where when there's a business that comes to me and it's like, hey, I really want a kick-ass web designer. And these are the things that are important to me. I'm able to go through and find someone that really matches those important aspects with that business and match those two together for a successful collaboration. So you don't, spend months on a project and end up not happy, or you have to spend money on a 3-month contract with a virtual assistant. Your guys' personalities just don't match, or they match too well. And, you're not getting the things done that you actually need to get done. And so it's definitely a more like human approach to hiring and a human approach to curating these connections for businesses as well as digital creators who work really hard to get their work shown and work with clients that really highlight what they're able to do.
I really love that because one, it's taking away the guesswork for the client who's looking for someone to help them in a specific area. Having to go through like 100 different people trying to figure out, okay, like, well, that person can do a little bit of this and that person can do a little bit of that. And I wish that there were one person that could do all of this part of what I need. So that you taking that time and really bringing in people whose expertise in this is in a specific area and then matching them up to clients as they come in looking for someone's talents. Like you said, website services, for example, maybe it's copy or maybe it's the whole branding of a website and that includes the copy and whatever is on there and the whole look of it. And I mean, I know most of the time people say you don't need to have a website to have a business, but I truly believe like once you're at a specific level, a website does help. And so how that website is set up is really going to make a difference visually because people do. And it's unfortunate, but we still judge by
Absolutely.
cover. So we're going to look at what we see first is going to give us our first impression and we're going to have an opinion about that. That's just human nature. So I love the fact, again, that you've taken the time to really curate these people, these individuals who are really creative in their specific area of expertise, bringing them on board with you, and then having that database for someone else, even like myself, who could come to you and say, hey, Monica, I'm looking for someone to do XYZ. And you can say, yeah, let me look at my database. Oh, yeah, I've got this person, or I've got these two people that might be able to be a great fit for you. So I really love that. I just wanted to say thank you for that because I think that taking the guesswork out of it is like such a huge, it's a huge time suck, if you will, when you're having to spend a lot of time trying to find these people and to have someone like you who already has these people ready and waiting to like hop on and help in whatever area is so good. So I'm glad that I know that because if I do need something, I know where to go. So thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it just really comes from something I've experienced myself where there's so much out there, so much talent, like so many places to look forward to. But I'm like, I just want to talk to someone and tell them, like, here's what I want. Like, can you find that for me? And recognizing that doesn't really like exist in a whole lot of spaces for people. I'm like, let me be that person. Cause I wish I had that when I was looking for someone to build my website, when I was looking for someone to do my virtual assistant duties for me. And so it's really just filling a void, but also just something I love to do, like connecting people. Like, how fun is that? Like-minded people and watching them successfully collaborate. It's very fulfilling too.
Yeah, I think that's why we have a little bit of that in common. That's why I love doing this podcast because it's really about me getting to know my guests, but also like I'm connecting my guests to an audience of people who you don't know that don't know you, but you could inspire them by what you do. Again, like you're part of this young visionary series that I wanted to have for my podcast. I really wanted to get your voices of your generation to give your perspective because my generation of growing up at your age is so different than your generation growing up. It's just night and day. It just is. And so getting your experiences now and bringing that on here so you can share it with the audience now of my peers and your peers and, anyone that's older or younger, it gives them like, oh, okay. It gives a perspective of, oh yeah, this is kind of neat. Like listening to someone who I went through 20s and 30s and I didn't have that experience, but love hearing the experiences of women like yourself who have the experiences that you are having at this time in your life. So yeah, that's why I wanted to have you on. So I want to talk to you about your leadership role because you're a leader in both the military and in business. So how do you adapt your leadership style to suit these different environments and what core principles guide you in both?
Well, you hit on the nail right there. Like, how do I suit my leadership style? It's leadership and, how I lead one group of people is not the same way that I lead another group of individuals. My foundation and my leadership philosophy, if you will, has and will always be servant leadership. And how can I serve an organization that I'm in? And how can I bring my best foot forward here? And how can I best serve the group that I'm in front of? And that's going to look different with the group of soldiers that I lead and the 4 team members that I have at Social Hive. It looks dramatically different. And it's not like I change myself to fit it, but it's more so like what brings the best out of them. And that takes a lot of intentionality, I would say, and getting to know your soldiers. Like for me, it's getting to know my soldiers. Like, how can I bring the best out of them? I have no idea what they do, after work or with their family, what they're going through. So it takes intentionality there, making sure I understand the whole person and not just the work that they do. And same thing goes with the people that work with me at Social Hive is how can I get the best out of them? And then with a barrier too, if we're not in person sitting together every day, like I can see facial expressions, I can see it's through text messages, right? It's through emails. And how can I still lead from a digital space has been something I've been working on. And it's very challenging. So I'm so used to getting up in front of a formation and just being able to speak, and people can see my body language. They can see and hear it in my voice. And so it's very fascinating now changing and trying to figure out, or just not changing, but adapting and suiting it best for my team digitally. But, same foundations really just stays. How can I serve them best? Where, they have all these options to work for all these different companies, but they choose to stay. And I always tell them that too. I'm like, if there's another opportunity, by all means, like explore that, but I want you but that at the end of the day, they do, and they still want to stay. And that's what I think really is foundational, is serving those that you're leading, that are following you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the point that you brought up about the written word it doesn't have the same, it doesn't come across the same. And so it's finding ways to be creative so that it comes across with the intentionality that you want it to have.
Yeah.
When you, like you say, when you're in front of a group of people, they can see your facial expressions, they see your body language, they can hear your tone of voice. But when you're through an email or through a text message, it's so different. And, I'm consulting for a law firm in California for a team of lawyers and paralegals. It's just been for the last 4 decades of doing what I do, to be really mindful of my written communication. And so I read it. I'm not just typing it and just pressing send. It's like I'm really reading it to make sure, am I getting across the message that I'm intending, so that when they receive it on the other end, it's coming across exactly the way it's intended to come across. That's so important. So I love that you brought that up, because it can be really difficult to get the same message across, that, you could be on one end and you're typing it and you could be laughing, but it doesn't mean that laughter is going to translate on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a wild and fun ride, just figuring out. I'm always learning. And that's what I love about that is, I'm taking the things I learn every day in my Army career, but also the things I learn every day running Social Hive. And I'm able to merge those two and just learn and grow in both spaces.
yeah, so let's talk about inspiring the next generation. So with your experience and your successes that you've had, you have the platform to influence and inspire your peers and the next generation. So what message do you want to convey to young professionals, especially women who aspire to lead in their fields?
Oh my goodness. I would say just never letting fear really dictate what you do. I think had I let, these inklings of fear, and I think fear is okay. It means that you care. It means you're on high alert. You're not just doing whatever for whatever. But had I let fear dictate what I did and not just had confidence in myself and in the plan that I know is right for me, I don't think I'd be where I'm at. And I think fear comes in all different sizes too. Like if you're joining the military, right? It's a little bit bigger than the fear of reaching out to a dream client. It's on different scales, but I've just learned so much about just putting myself out there and being okay making mistakes. I mean, yes, it's this, you hear it all the time, but that's because it's true. Is like, make mistakes, take the chances, and just keep going. Like you are your biggest obstacle. I think there's so many things out there that can help you grow, that can get your name out there, like whatever it is that you want to do. There's just so many opportunities for you to take that, and just not being scared to do so, and realizing this is the life that you only live once too. So like taking that chance and just going for it. And like the worst that can happen is you tried. And I think that's something that was told to me as well when I was nervous about doing all of it, from volleyball to college to Social Hive. It's, what's the worst case that can happen is you tried and now you're on a different path doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So,
yeah. And courage doesn't come first. I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll get the courage and then I can do it. It's like, nope, you just have to step into it sometimes and the courage comes from the stepping into it and having, like you said, the mentors and having people to support you on your journey. I think that's important too. That's why I believe in community is being really such an important aspect of my life, of having people in my life to support me when I have those doubts. Maybe I have fears that I can just say, hey, this is where I feel like I'm at. And having people remind me, you've done so many great things, pull on those times when you've succeeded and use that as your fuel. So I love that. So last question, looking forward, where do you see your career and your agency heading in the next few years? And are there any new ventures or expansions on the horizon?
Well, that's so exciting. So with my business, really this year, we are just absolutely focused on building the community, holding different in-person networking events, just building Social Hive up and really just allowing people to collaborate, allowing people to meet, like you said, in spaces they normally wouldn't meet, and really focusing intentionality in that space and providing both digital creators as well as businesses, which is tools that they need and that they will help them succeed. And that's really our biggest thing is this year, just growing that network and just growing that community, that meaningful and intentional community. And then as far as the Army career goes, I'm actually pivoting and going into a public affairs marketing role. And so that's just equally as exciting. And I get to pair the things I'm doing at Social Hive very intimately with the way that I'm able to tell the Army story in the digital world and through different public events. So it's just really exciting times. And I think everything's just kind of merging and going in the way that's supposed to. And it's really just a testament that like I'm in the space that I'm supposed to be in. And so it's all just a lot of community building and a lot of stepping into new spaces still Army wise. So we're really looking forward to this year.
Yeah. Oh, incredible. That's just incredible. And I'm excited for you. Monica, thank you so much for spending time with me today and sharing your unique journey from military discipline to digital innovation. Your experiences in leading with integrity and adaptability are so incredibly inspiring to me. I'll make sure to include your contact information in the show notes for anyone interested in learning more about your work or connecting with you further to maybe even becoming part of the Social Hive. Your insights today are, I am sure, to inspire our listeners. They will be inspired to embrace leadership in their own lives and to explore innovative approaches in their careers. So again, I am incredibly thankful that you spent time with me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is an incredible platform. I'm so lucky to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you so much. And to our
Yes.
listeners, remember that each story you hear is a beacon guiding you towards your path of leadership and innovation. So embrace the lessons and use them to fuel your journey. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time.
Hi, it's me, Flo. Remember me from Ghost Hampton, the podcast? I was secretly in love with Lyle Hall. Well, now I'm dead and loving it. But let's talk about you. If you loved listening to Ghost Hampton, you can now spend the summer in the Hamptons. The original episodes are back, and now new episodes will be dropping every Friday. I may drop in too, just to make Lyle feel guilty. Ghost Hampton, the podcast, is now streaming everywhere.
Hey, heard you like podcasts. Well, check out Dollar Bets. Two sports guys with faces for radio, betting live money against each other on air. That's Dollar Bets with a Z. Find us on the Winner's Edge.
Electric acid.